Everyone loves the idea of a corporate wellness program until it flops. So the truth is, Tim and I have spent a decade in this industry, and we believe, and what we've seen firsthand, is that most of these programs do fail. And that's actually great news because every failure highlights what's broken. It gives you plus us a roadmap to fix what's broken. And today we're going to go through 5 of the big reasons wellness programs crash and how these failures can be your secret advantage. So let's get after it. So first item on our list, why corporate wellness programs fail and why that's a good thing. So Tim, let's you and I talk about no leadership buy-in. That is a big failure. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, over a
Getting
decade,
old.
I feel like that's starting to age us. Yeah,
I mean,
we're
we could say
there.
how much just for men you use, but that would be maybe a little too provocative though. That's the
Oh, that would be, yes, yeah, that'd be very provocative. If you go back through all the old videos, you probably can figure that out. No leadership. It's funny. Why would you pay for it if you're not going to use it? That's a very interesting. Or if you're not going to use it, is it valuable where your employees would use it? I think it's just one thing where the buy-in doesn't just have to be with using the actual product or solution. It has to be just a genuine understanding that you want to create a culture of health and well-being for your employees because it's going to help them in anything. And even we talk a lot about how it's not just the physical, it's also the mental and fitness and exercise and sleep all play into your stress and your anxiety and things like that. So really it's, in my opinion, not just the buy-in to the product, it's the buy-in to the culture
yeah.
of health and
So like,
well-being.
look, if Tim and I didn't believe and we didn't take advantage of wellness programs, obviously that feels super hypocritical to have our team do that. It's like you need to model the behavior that you want your team to do. If you're expecting them to work long hours and you're cutting out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, people would think that's a little strange. And same thing for these programs. If you're saying we want to create a healthy culture within our organization, we respond to that, but yet we want you to be on Zoom calls all the time. We don't want you to take a break for yourself. Again, it's modeling the wrong behavior. And I think potentially why this is a good thing if you were to roll out a so you're running HR, you roll out this wellness program, and you see leaders are just not opting in, they're not modeling the right behavior. This is a good thing. The reason being is that now you've probably uncovered the real issue. There's a cultural problem in the organization, and that to me could be you have some toxic culture. And if you want to improve the organization, improve how your employees respond to that, the likelihood is you probably don't need a well-being program. You need to focus in on maybe leadership training around modeling the right types of behaviors. I mean, that's my thought. I don't think you need to add more perks. You need to do some sort of training for your leadership team around what matters for the culture of the organization.
Yeah, and even go as far as making it part of your interview process when you're interviewing those who are going to be managing and leading others within your team. What is their stance and posture on creating this culture of that's really proactively
Yeah.
promoting health and well-being?
So let's talk about another big problem why these programs fail, and it's culture mismatch. We both kind of teased this out before, but really culture mismatch is you're offering a smoothie bar, but you're expecting your employees to work 60-hour weeks. You're telling them, take some time for yourself, but expect them to be on video calls all the time and respond to your emails on Saturday morning. That to me is a big failure if you're rolling out a program like this.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that. It just, if you have a toxic culture, and you kind of overlapped on our first point here, you're not going to fix it with a monthly yoga class. Yoga is great, but I mean, you're not getting to the root of the problem. Culture, in my opinion, is how people are treated. It's the core beliefs within the company, and it's how an employee genuinely feels with working with the company. And it's not just what perks are offered. And it's so important to not, again, to address the root of the problem. Yoga class is great, but it's not going to fix
You're going to
burnout.
get a
And
lot of
again, your
yogis
employees
upset,
are part
Tim.
of that
This
problem.
may be the rallying cry for the yogi movement to pick a fight with you. You got to be careful. Strong. They're strong behind the keyboard. They're
Bring it
very
on. I mean,
flexible.
they are. Yeah. They can stretch while they're typing their hate for for what we
Stretch that
have.
corporal
And
cut.
again, I'm saying it's the monthly class. Like we've seen it all the time where let's do a monthly Zumba class, let's do a monthly yoga class. That let's do a monthly weight training class. Is that going to get everybody completely healthy with all of their exercise goals? No, it's not. It's not. It's just kind of throwing something at the problem. And honestly, I would even go as far as to say it's disrespectful to your employees if you think perks are going to change a
Exactly. You
toxic
roll out this
culture.
wellness program, it flops. I think it's an opportunity now that you can look at what are the gaps, like what are the realities of your organization, and based upon those realities, where do you want to spend your capital or your time to better enhance what's important to you as an HR leader for your business? Is it retaining your employees? Is it attracting new employees? Is it boosting the productivity of those employees? Ultimately, again, having that wellness program feels good, it sounds good on paper, but if it is a mismatch, then obviously you're not going to get the return. But it will highlight opportunities in which you probably do want to spend more time and more resources on. All right. I love this one too. We all love something for everyone, which ultimately leads to something or everything for nothing. What's the saying? Something for everyone is nothing for all. But that's definitely not the saying. Do you know what it is, Tim?
I, if that's the saying,
Yeah.
it's a saying
Never to
I've
be
never
repeated
heard,
again.
but I'm sure there's something
All right.
around
So
that.
the problem with the next topic is generic content. So often that one size fits all approach is dumped on, and generic content, generic workshops feel disconnected and irrelevant and make your participation drop very fast.
Yeah, I think there's two key points here. Number one is if a cookie cutter program is successful within your organization, I would question uh, the people you've hired. You pretty much have all the same people who have the same preferences, probably around the same age, probably have the same income level, all the things. It just
Yeah.
cookie
Or they're
cutter does
checking the
not
box. They're
work
just
for
like, oh, we
diverse
feel like we
teams.
need to go here. We're just going to check the
Yeah,
box to make sure that everyone sees that we're participating or something like that. Like that coffee badging
exactly,
again that we talked
exactly.
about
And
previously.
I think it's a good thing when these things fail because it's going to push leadership to listen to their employees and say, okay, we need to cookie cutter isn't working. We need to personalize. We still need to stay within a certain budget, but now I need to listen to my employees. Now I need to really start to understand
Yeah.
how we can
And
help them.
you're never going to get 100% participation in wellness programs. So that would be the holy grail.
No.
If I heard a vendor tell me, look, we're getting 95%, I'd say, no way, dude. No way.
Yep.
We've had too much experience in
Yeah.
this industry to know that that is just not realistic, or the way that they are interpreting the numbers certainly is not realistic. It's not the boots in the ground. So why I have this saying, what makes sense in the boardroom doesn't make sense necessarily on the factory floor. If you really look at what is moving the
Yep.
needle and engaging your people, and if you look at what's moving the needle and engaging your people versus the programs you're deploying, then ultimately you're going to identify those gaps. And the gaps, again, this is what this conversation is about. It's like these are the reasons we see wellness programs fail. And shifting the conversation around why that's a good thing for you is because if you can see these gaps, ultimately you can close those gaps. If you don't know what the problems are, if you don't know where people are opting in for things, like if you aren't running a wellness program, that's a problem, I would say, because your people probably are suffering in silence. But if you offer, we're going to run a 10,000 step challenge and expect all your employees to do this, and you're going to run another 10,000 step challenge the following month, like that to me is a missed opportunity to really make a move, make the needle move for your staff that need help.
Agreed. I mean, anybody who's claiming 95% participation, I would definitely question how they're defining participation. I remember this gym I used to go to would had some program where they would get paid if seniors over 65 went, I think like 8 times per month or something like that. So 2 times a week they'd have pizza parties for seniors to get them in there. So they would check in and then they would get pizza. And so technically they're participating 8 times a month. What is that really doing for them? So I think really I would challenge leaders to define what participation is and ultimately what is successful and what are you trying to
Yeah,
accomplish with
and I
this
want to I
program.
want to give a shout out to Reddit, who's not sponsoring this, by the way, but shout out to Reddit for helping me come up with the actual saying, Tim. So I was very off on what I thought it was. It's something that is made for everyone is made for no one.
Something that is made for everyone
That
is
that, that
made
could
for
maybe
no
be
one. I
like
like that.
one of those tattoos that people get. Like that would be the thing you get. Like, this reminds me of I need to get a non generic corporate wellness program. That's the reminder I need.
I like it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Reddit,
Reddit.
for answers on the internet. Okay. Low employee engagement. So sign up spike.
Mhm.
Everyone's super jacked up about this program, but participation dies out shortly. This is obviously because your program will fail if no one uses it. And you need to think about how to create opportunities to engage your employees. So that is a problem. Low employee engagement is the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you have low engagement. It means the program is either not relevant or not accessible. That's it starts and stops there. So redesign your program, listen to your employees, design the program with them, not for them, and you're in a better place. But also understand, I remember we had a client, we actually won the business because we were so honest with
Mm-hmm.
what they could expect with employee engagement, because other vendors were telling them these high numbers, and we were like, listen, year one you're going to be around here, year two, and it was actual real numbers. And I know we've seen, if you offer free health coaching or even free programs, you're still in surprising levels of engagement. So if there's not a coordinated effort and a coordinated partner who are going to help you increase the accessibility of the program, number one, and number two, once they start, personalize it to the point where they're going to want to continue, you're
Yeah.
fighting a losing
And
battle.
as much as we want to have everyone watch all of our videos, we know that's not the case. Or if we hear Tim's story about you don't want to watch a long movie, but you'll watch 30 episodes of The Office. But I want to just give you the opportunity to pay homage to that picture that I see right over your shoulder of our kickoff of our first client and what we did and what happened,
Oh
because
yeah.
that story is the perfect anecdote of what low employee engagement looks like, and getting that spike and high-fiving yourself, because that's that day we had our kickoff. I could see it over there, all in our fancy blue shirts and our matching khakis. Look at us. But obviously we had a lot. We learned a lot back then.
We did. Well, I mean, the content here is around why the failure is a good thing. And I think for us, the failure was the best thing that could ever happen, because we kind of listened. We then went back for
Yep.
almost a full year, once or twice a week, and listened to the employees. And then that really was, for us, the turning point for what allowed us to build what ultimately became our company. And it was all built off the voices of
Yep.
employees who needed help, and not the terrible ideas apparently you and I had before we had a
DJ and
client.
confetti and all that fun stuff. But yeah, Timmy nailed it.
Yep.
Low engagement is not the death of a program, but it's your diagnostic alert. It's the canary in the coal mine that's saying, "Hey, we have a problem here." And then are you, as an organization, are you able to take that information and then adapt to the needs of your people, and ultimately pivot into a solution that people are going to care about? All right. You and I love to work out. When we've traveled, we'd be picking out basically our hotels or our Airbnbs by how close it is to a gym. So the next big failure is this overemphasis on physical health. So wellness programs have a tendency to go with this. We're going to run the 10,000 step program. We're going to do this big push-up challenge. Guilty as charged. Versus focusing on probably what employees really need, that mental, social, or even financial well-being. That is probably what your employees might need most. And running these physical programs first can alienate a group of people that, as Tim would tell you with his background, are intimidated to even go into a gym. You don't run a program like that if that's where they really are. Their readiness for change isn't there.
When before we started the company, I was building and starting fitness and wellness centers, where with the intention of a target market that was typically either chronically ill, patient with a chronic condition, or just scared or intimidated by your typical fitness center. And we had to add things that were beyond just fitness. They were meeting with a nurse. They were building a program for them. There was some coaching element to it. There was a lot of things that were more than just walking through the door. But as you were just speaking, great points, by the way. I was thinking, I can't tell you how many times I would have somebody come in and say, this is the third time I came or the fourth time I came, and the first three times I just sat in my car and I couldn't walk through the door. And, by adding just a layer of coaching before they would even start exercise, by adding something that's, expanding beyond the gym from either mental or emotional well-being, it's just going to pay benefits. And so we see this a lot where if you make that first step just too much, too intimidating, not personalized, they're never going to get past that first step. And a lot of times, I know I say this a lot, but I believe it, with all my heart, but we're promoting step five in a process when if you don't have a coordinated effort for steps 1 to 4, you're never going to get the fifth step. And I fill in the blank what step five is. It could be going to the gym. It could be, starting a really more rigorous nutrition program or just eating healthier. Whatever that step five is, fine. But there is a disconnect when we are just plastering step five in the employee's face and saying, well, why aren't they doing it? Well, they're not doing it because they're human like all of us. And we need sometimes small steps to get
Yeah.
to our
And
ultimate goal.
look, I think for the right employee, emphasizing physical health is great. For the right employee, emphasizing spiritual health is great. For the right employee, emphasizing nutrition is great, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to only
Yeah.
check one of those boxes and only that medium, and your employees will feel very disconnected to the experience and wonder, why isn't this meant for me? It's super intimidating. I don't want to fail in front of my colleagues. I feel like threatened by this approach, and therefore I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to go further and further away and eventually jump off this screen and not participate in any of these programs because it's not meant for me. So for us, I think
Exactly.
if you were to go that approach by leading with a physical health program, I think again that it's fair, but you need to hear from people who are experts. I would say Tim and I are experts in this industry, that you do need to have more of a holistic approach towards that. But certainly, your employees better than we do. If you overemphasize on a physical health program, you're inevitably missing out on opportunities to create that really 360 benefit that your employees are probably looking for.
Step challenges don't solve the problem if
Yeah,
your employees are disconnected, right? I mean, it just and listen, of course we understand the emotional benefits beyond physical of something like exercise, but
yeah.
it needs to be more. I mean, I think we're good on
Well, even
this
like one thing that
already,
people
right?
often overlook, and you and I have talked about this off camera before. It's sleep and how important it is as a recovery item for you. Like, look, if you have, and you were talking about, a 1-year-old birthday party today. Look, when you're doing
Yeah.
sleep training for your newborn, you are not working out really. And if you are, like you're giving it 50 or 30%. Again, people are at different stages of
Oh
life.
yeah.
You can't expect everyone to adopt the same sort of programs based upon the understanding that everyone is ready to move and they're all warmed up, they're physically active and able. It's a missed opportunity.
It is agreed, and it's funny you said that too because I you there's probably other things I could have been doing that were not exercise that could have even helped me through that. But if you only focus on the physical,
Yeah.
you're just missing the mark here.
Any other points or comments on these topics, Tim?
No, just I mean, it's funny. I think I said
So
no,
no,
and
but
then
yes.
I talk. Isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yes is so. Yes, I do have a point. Um, I think these are all solved in the same way. Listen to your employees. Well,
Yeah.
first, track success. If it's not there, listen to your employees, make the appropriate adjustments. If those adjustments you're not comfortable with making them, seek an expert who's going to help you through them. I mean, this is nothing's cookie cutter, but if you're not tracking, if you're not adjusting, you're just
Yeah.
going to
I
keep
mean,
getting the
look,
same results.
problem solution. You can look at low engagement, helps you identify where culture is broken. Great. Lack of leadership buy-in can help you establish new social norms. So these program failures aren't complete flops. They're again your canary in the coal mine, letting you know where there's opportunities where you potentially are misaligned. So this gives you an opportunity to re-leverage your resources, your time, your capital, your staff to deploy programs and benefits that capture the needs of your organization, and that's a good thing. So if you're in that situation and you're looking for third-party parties to help you. Third-party parties. Lots of parties there, Tim. Lots of parties.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for partners to help you think through critically what the needs of your organization looks like, we're happy to be that partner for you. And also, too, if you find this content valuable, subscribe and stay tuned for more. Hope to see you all soon.